We begin tonight with the story of a fifth-grade boy in Ocala who's dead after committing suicide.
And his parents say it was because he was bullied by his teacher. TV 20's Ethan Badowski tells us how people at the school are reacting.
He didn't deserve it. I wish I was there so I could just smack the gun out of his hand.
Kyrie Whitehead is mourning the loss of his best friend, 10-year-old Lewis Johnson. Johnson committed suicide Thursday after his parents say he was bullied by his teacher, Dawn White.
She screams at a lot of people even though they don't do anything. She makes people cry, and she's very mean. She deserves to be in jail for a little bit. For a long time.
White has worked at 5 different schools since 2009, and Marion County Public School officials say they are investigating the allegations. A person answering White's phone hung up when we called. They also say they received no formal complaints about White from any students or parents.
People are going to be very protective of their kids, and they're going to do everything it takes to get things solved and get to the bottom of it. But I feel like when kids, kids try to go into, I think it's a gap in between there because they don't know how to go and speak to adults sometimes.
Lewis's parents passed out flyers to parents in the carpool lane about what happened, and one said that was the first they heard of his death. School district officials are meeting with the family, and Whitehead's mom told me he will be interviewed by the superintendent. Officials with Marion County Schools say that Dawn White has been put on administrative leave while the investigation with the district is ongoing. They say this is standard procedure. Reporting in Ocala, Ethan Badowski, TV 20 News.